Hi, welcome to 7 Steps to Enter a Cybersecurity Career, presented by Center for Cybersecurity at SINCON 2021. This talk is specially created for people looking to enter cybersecurity as a career, whether as a mid-career switcher or as a person just graduating from a cybersecurity degree or diploma, and you're looking at how to best put your foot forward to enter the career. This video is specially for you. I'm Seow. I'm the CEO of CFC, or Center for Cybersecurity, and I'm here to share with you these 7 steps. Now, before we go further into this, let me talk about the goals of this talk. Number 1 is to let you know why cybersecurity is such an awesome career and you should join it, right? It is all about why cybersecurity could be your next career choice. Or if it's your first, great. And to be able to provide for you a step-by-step approach into entering cybersecurity, to provide the resources for each step of this journey, as well as to explain the options of the path that you can take within cybersecurity. And last but not least, share with you what CFC is built for and what we can do to help you get a career in cybersecurity. With that, I would like to introduce myself a bit. So I'm a TEDx speaker, entrepreneur, ex-medical student, and an author. So I came from outside of the field of cybersecurity until this year, where I went headfirst in. My passion has always been in creating the right culture for businesses and for individuals to shine in their careers. And in cybersecurity, I find that this is where I seem to be able to find, kind of alignment with what they are doing in cybersecurity. And in the last few months of me being in cybersecurity, I want to say I've fallen in love with it. And why did I fall in love with cybersecurity? So first up, it is a technically challenging career. When we talk about this, I don't mean it in the form of it is really hard to understand, you need to work so hard. No. It's all about the fact that it is something that always engages you. There's always new things to learn. There's always new ways to learn new things. There's also so much resources available for you to learn from, right? There's Stack Overflow. There's a lot of places where you can learn stuff. It requires you to have a conceptual understanding about cybersecurity in the whole. It requires you to touch on things like network and all these different things. It's multifaceted as that. And then it's also multidisciplinary because, there are different areas like social engineering where you're dealing with people. There's the penetration testing side, and there's all the different aspects that you can learn in cybersecurity. It is an ever-evolving field where you're always learning and developing new skills. And not only that, right? With the development of digital technology, there's always new things that you need to be worried about or you need to be concerned with in cybersecurity. Just again, 20 years ago, IoT or Internet of Things wasn't such a thing. Your Alexa and your and all these different tools would not be of security concern until today, right? So therefore, cybersecurity is really fun and always evolving. And learning is very much at the core of this. So if you're interested in learning and growing and being technically challenged, cybersecurity is a space where you can always keep growing and keep being engaged. Let me share with you a bit more about Center for Cybersecurity. So first up, we're a company that focuses on continuous education, training, work placement, and partnerships. We're Singapore-based, and we are focused on cybersecurity as our name suggests. We're here to empower individuals looking to enter cybersecurity sector with absolutely no experience in IT or anything in cybersecurity to start your career in cybersecurity just after 3 months. So as we're speaking, as we're having this video, we are actually preparing our students to get their placement interviews, to get the jobs in cybersecurity after the 3 months of training. Now, we are hands-on and we're here with you. And if you are interested in knowing more about this, after this talk, feel free to contact us or feel free to talk to us in the Discord channel so that we are always able to answer your questions, right? I will be online right now on the Discord server, so be sure to ask questions if you have any. Also, let me share with you a bit more about our company. I'm the CEO. I have James, who is my right-hand man and an absolute goal of a guy. He is the COO or Operations Officer. And if you're ever talking to us on WhatsApp or any of these channels, he's the guy that you'll talk to the most, right? And then we have David Schiffman, who is our CTO, also the guy who is the CEO of our training partner. So he developed this software, wonderful training software called Cybersecurity Arena that we use to train our students. And a lot of the curriculum and the training is done with them or by them in CFC. So when you're looking at this, we're not just a few of us, we're working with a training partner that brings the knowledge to us. And I'll share more about Think Cyber in a bit. Last but not least, we have Ken Lim, our Chief Commercial Officer, that focuses mostly on our business development aspects, as well as to be able to help you find placement partners, as well as if you're interested in knowing more about cybersecurity, he's the guy with the 5 years experience sharing with you his war stories. Now let me share with you more about our training partner. Think Cyber, right? The corporate clientele is very much all around the world. They train in Canada, Mexico, South Africa, Switzerland, France, Nigeria. They've trained in Singapore, in China, all around the world, right? They are one of the best guys in these areas, and they've been training all around the world. And more importantly, they are the providers of cybersecurity education for the top IT college in their home country, John Bryce. Furthermore, they also do a lot of the local training for all their internal home country's services, which is why, if you know about their home country and you know how good they are at cybersecurity, you know that the quality of education for them to get in there is very high. And this is why we're excited to work with them. And this is why we're able to share with you how much we've learned on the ground. Let's start with the common questions that we are always asked at CFC, right? Whenever we run our info sessions, when people are interested in entering cybersecurity as a career, we get these questions. Do I need an IT background? Do I need to know coding? The answer is very simply no. You can have zero knowledge before you take these 7 steps. Now, it's really important for you to realize that it is perfectly fine for you to not have an IT background or any coding knowledge before you embark on this journey. This is exactly why CFC is created, is to be able to help you be able to have a career in cybersecurity by training you in the different areas. But that's us. The 7 steps will also cover all the different areas you need to learn if you were to take it on your own, such that you don't need an IT background or coding to take these 7 steps. Another question that people ask very often is it mentally challenging? Well, any career that is exciting and lucrative and going to give you a very good career stability will be mentally challenging. But if you're talking about very, I wouldn't say so if you are enjoying the process. If you like digital systems, if you care about the cybersecurity, it is definitely not something that will drain a lot out of you. It's actually fun. A lot of people who are in the field would be happily talking about all the different things they learn and all the practice of it. And why you're here at SINCON 2021 is because all these people love talking about it. So it's not very, but it is mentally challenging. And if you're interested in understanding a bit more as to whether you're ever too old for cybersecurity, we have people in their 40s, in their 30s in our classes, right? They are looking for a career switch. It's never too late. And even in your 50s and 60s, if you're truly interested and you really want to learn, the knowledge of cybersecurity can bring you into a lot of different new aspects in terms of your career if you were to choose to do so, right? We recommend that you just learn more about it first and decide along the way, especially after you've gone through what we are talking about today, the 7 steps. So let's talk about the first step. Find your reason to join cybersecurity. When we talk about this, I'm going to give you the practical reasons as to why you should join cybersecurity. But of course, there's a lot of emotional reasons like what I just shared with you, which is why I love it, right? Let's talk about the career trajectory. Cybersecurity is a very clear and very lucrative career for you to be in. Why? Because as the reports say, we're looking at 2 million unfilled positions in the next 10 years. We're talking about a general deficit in terms of people being able to fulfill the ranks of cybersecurity. It is a sunrise industry. It is always growing, right? And the other part is, it is important to note that the beginning, right, the entry point is between 3 to 5K a month in Singapore right now. So what we're looking at is a starting pay of between $36,000 to $58,000 a year. Now, these are really good numbers for entry level. And if you were to rise through the ranks in the next 3 to 5 years, 5 to 8 years, you're looking at 100 to 200,000 or even up to 300,000 a year if you build your career right. Cybersecurity is a field that is always growing and will always need more people in the higher ranks. It is definitely also a skills-based career, which also means that once you upgrade your skills, it is more possible for you to rise through the ranks. And how do you prove it? It's always by skills, right? You need to showcase your skills. So what do you do in cybersecurity? It includes incident response, penetration testing. So let's go into a little bit more detail about what you're doing in there. Incident response, you're basically functioning much like the person who's patrolling the areas, making sure and responding to all the different attacks that's happening within the systems. And what you're doing is very much a lot like protecting your country or protecting your systems or protecting your home. It's all about being able to defend and observe what's going on. Penetration testing is all about being the person who is white hat hacking, right? Like you're testing the systems, you're breaking systems, you're regularly testing what's going on in there. If you're into spy movies, this is absolutely for you. If you're into defense, if you're into stability, if you're into regularity, incident response brings enough engagement in terms of excitement, because every time an attack happens, you need to do certain things to prevent things from happening. But most of the time, you're actually doing a 9-to-5 job. It's very stable. It's good for you. Vulnerability assessments are basically people internal to a company who are regularly testing the vulnerabilities of their servers, the systems. They're regularly running code checks, all these different things to be able to make sure that things are working. It is a little bit close to what penetration testers do, but on the internal side. If you're into CSI, forensic investigation is definitely for you, right? If you like cyber and CSI, this is a space where you're tracking down, finding out what actually happened when an attack has happened. You're doing a postmortem. You're trying to figure out what exactly happened. It's a really fun career to have. Or if you're more of a business person, you like dealing with people, governance risk is definitely for you. You're coming up with privacy policies for companies. You're managing all the cyber awareness. You're dealing with all the policy level work in a company. Now, if you're into threat hunting is very much about you researching what are the latest threats, who are the ransomware groups, who are the hackers, who are the people likely to attack your company or your organizational body that you protect. Threat hunting is very much about, the practice of, observing and knowing who are the different threats, and then being able to give good reports about it, as well as to prevent potential future attacks through these measures. Development Security Operations, or DevSecOps, is the process of being a software engineer who focuses on the security of the software that they develop. Now, these are really great careers to have if you're interested in all these different areas. But more importantly, after this, if you're interested in cybersecurity, you could still be in cybersecurity, but in marketing, in sales, in the business aspects, because all these different areas still need people who know cybersecurity, but are interested in all the other non-practice roles. So why we think people should join cybersecurity? Very simple. It is easy to find a job if you are qualified. If you're good enough, once you enter cybersecurity, it is actually very possible you find a job. It is high pay, it is clear career progression, it is long-term job security, and it's very possible for you to jump into other areas thereafter. Now, why do we even have this talk? It's because it is hard for you to enter cybersecurity, because hiring managers wouldn't hire you unless you have the skills. How do you even showcase you have the skills, get the interview, be able to prove that you can get a job in cybersecurity? This is why it's hard in the first place. The skills that is required is not something that's typically taught in schools and needs specialized education, which is why for most people, it is hard for you to enter. You need to know how Linux runs. You need to know how networks are set up. You need to know how to run your OS systems. You need to work with virtual machines. How many of us do that on a daily level? Which is why it's hard. And even if you were to get the low-level certs, it doesn't necessarily get you a job, because a lot of these certs are theory-based. And once you get to the interview phase, they might ask you a bunch of questions that you might not be able to answer. And that actually causes you to lose the opportunities, which is why it's hard to get in, because it is a skills-based career and you need to show your skills. Cybersecurity hires based on trust, skills, and knowledge, which is why SINCON 2021, for example, is really great, because it's all about sharing skills, sharing knowledge, and hopefully build you up to have a career in cybersecurity. So now that we know why you should enter cybersecurity and why is it hard to enter and why there's a moat around the career that you have, let's go into what is the next step. Start learning cybersecurity. When I talk about this, we're not going to leave you in a lurch and just tell you, just go study cybersecurity. No. Here are great resources you can have. There are great websites like TryHackMe. It's a great beginner-friendly website. And if you're a little bit more advanced and you will go further, the Cyber Mentor Academy, Hack the Box Academy, these great places are great for you to learn higher and higher knowledge levels. And it is really great resources, right? If you're interested in penetration testing, these places are great spaces for you to start. Even if you're into defense or forensics, these places tell you what's happening, what is actually happening on the ground, and train you in what people do so that you have an experience in these areas. If you're interested in reading more about the mentality around it, they're great books to read. And here comes my favorite resource, YouTube channels. Now, this list of YouTube channels are wonderful for you to get your toes wet into understanding a little bit more about cybersecurity, as well as to take the tutorials for you to gain the first few steps into cybersecurity. Now, we'll leave this whole slides and everything in the Discord channel after this talk, but please just stay with me. We'll go through all 7 steps before we share with you. Before we go further into the steps, we need to understand what cybersecurity is. Now, you as a normal person, as a person who's not in cybersecurity yet, actually understanding what it is really key. It is the practice of protecting systems, networks, devices, and programs from digital attacks. A lot of ways in which cybersecurity is done is actually through your passwords, the user access, who gets access to your computer, right? Do you give your password away easily? The fact that you have to log in into your OS or your operating system is really important. Who gets access to your Wi-Fi networks? What kind of VPNs do you run? Two-factor authentications, all the different softwares. When you log into your Instagram, the passwords, the security, the tickets that you use, all these different things are really part of cybersecurity. Now, on this end, it seems foreign to us as to how it's implemented and what it does naturally, but it is really important for you to know that almost every single digital experience that you have has cybersecurity built into it, which is why recognizing this is really important. Knowing how this works helps you understand more about cybersecurity. Now, to enter cybersecurity, you need these 3 fundamental core parts: networking, Linux, and Windows. When we talk about this, I'm talking about understanding the operating systems, Linux and Windows, as well as how internet works. For example, how do you actually receive this information on your computer right now through the internet is networking, right? All these packets sent across the different lines, the fiber cables in our ground, undersea. These are really important things for you to know about. If you want to understand more about cybersecurity, you need the fundamentals in networking before you can go further. Most softwares in cybersecurity are built for Linux, and knowing how to use it, as well as knowing how to manage the servers, which are the mainstay in networks, because of the wonderful operating system that it maintains long uptimes. There are wonderful things about it. A lot of tools are also built on it. You need to understand Linux to be able to be in cybersecurity. And most companies use Windows, which is why Windows is a very essential part of learning cybersecurity, because a lot of attacks actually happen on Windows machines, which is why it is important for you to understand this. Now that we've done that, let's talk about virtual machines. So virtual machines are very, very important parts of your learning process. If you don't experiment with virtual machines, it's very hard for you to do anything in cybersecurity. Now, let's even talk about what virtual machines are. They are basically guest operating systems on your computer that you can run without having to run them on your computer itself, which means that I can run a Linux, a Mac, or a Windows in my computer itself that is under my computer. So the great part about this is that you get to really learn about how the network works, because you'll be building networks within the virtual machine systems. But more importantly, you have to be able to learn how to manage all these different things. You get to break an OS and then recover from it rather than having to reinstall it on your computer all over again. It is all about the ability to learn thanks to virtual machines. So once you know how to create your own servers and networks, you know how to use the tools that are used in Linux. Like for myself, I have a Kali Linux running on my Windows machine. That is really important because a lot of the different learnings that we're having are done on Linux systems, on the Kali Linux, right? You get hands-on practice and emulation of real-world events, and that allows you to understand the tools of the trade. And once you simulate attacks and you simulate all kinds of defense systems, you get to observe how everything is done, the impact of everything, so that you can present this to the future employers. And it's a really great space for experimentation. Another very important part of virtual machines in cybersecurity is that it's absolutely for security. For example, if I were to download a virus or a Trojan or a worm, also known as malware, you can open it up without any fears of your own computer being jeopardized. Secondly, there's no permanent damage on your host operating system, meaning the ones that install onto your computer itself, so that you don't have to worry or have to reinstall everything and wipe your whole hard disk and lose all the precious information. When you run on guest systems, the great part is you can always take snapshots, you can close and open and delete all of them. It's wonderful. And then last but not least, you can encrypt whole OSs so that you don't have to worry about other people accessing them. So especially when you're doing cybersecurity, a lot of information might be private, and keeping it away from other people is really key. That's why encryption is very important. Now that we've gotten here, let me share with you that if you're interested, download VMware Workstation Player or VirtualBox for you to start experimenting. Start downloading some OSs so you get to experience what's it like and start playing around with the systems. The websites that we recommended would start telling you a bit more what kind of things you can do on them and give you a good idea of what you can do. Step 4, join Capture the Flags, join the communities and conferences. Join Capture the Flag competitions to get to understand what's actually happening. I learned a lot from my first 2 rounds of joining CTS, and it gave me a very good understanding of what are the different skills needed in cybersecurity. And one of the most important parts about this is joining communities. Now in Singapore, we have this wonderful group called Division Zero or Div Zero. That is Singapore's largest cybersecurity community that shares knowledge and information for the meetups. Joining it will really be something beneficial for you because you get to meet potential future employers or potential future colleagues that would know more about your skills if you were to be joining these sessions. Of course, SINCON 2021 is a great space to be. And if you're in the startup industry, ICE 71 or I71 is a great space for you because they are startup-focused cybersecurity group. There's a great community for you to connect with. And if you're interested in more information, Singapore Computer Society Cybersecurity Chapter, or AISP, also known as Association of Information Security Professionals, are great spaces for you to learn more about all the different workshops and all the different tools that you might need because they run regular sessions. Step 5, create your GitHub and portfolio. Now, this is a very important part. How do you showcase your skills to your potential employer if you do not have a portfolio online? This is where GitHub comes in. Now, if you're a software engineer, you probably know GitHub already, but if you're not, GitHub is the space where people upload codes and all these kind of different things such that people can share it and be able to showcase. So a lot of open source softwares is on GitHub. And if you share it on there, you can use it as your portfolio. Just to give you a bit of ideas, there are shell scripts and Python scripts that we recommend people to upload so that people can know that you know your skills. Shell scripts are basically the thing that is run on Linux to be able to run all the different commands on an automated level. And if you can showcase your shell scripts abilities, it gives people the confidence that you know Linux systems. For you to run Python scripts really shows your ability, at least on coding level, as well as some of the basics level of how do you run security or offense operations in Python code. And this allows you to showcase your defense and offense skills for your potential employers. So remember to get ready these things. GitHub, a website. So this, you can get it off Namecheap or GoDaddy and use a Wix to be able to run your own website for free, right? So this is really important. Once you have a website, you know how to relink everything. Once you have set this all up, you're setting up a wonderful system for people to know more about yourself. Of course, that's where you put up projects that you take on, which I'll explain a bit more later on, and the different reports that you create as a result. Now, step 6, do cybersecurity projects. Now, this can be done on Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, or you can do paid work or unpaid work for companies or friends or in your own virtual machines for you to showcase. Now, it's really important that you document the whole process of doing a vulnerability assessment. You can run through it on your virtual machines in a fake environment, meaning you're not actually testing it on real people's servers, but at least you showcase that you can do it and you can run what's going on. Penetration tests can be done in the same way, or you can do it for a friend's company or for somebody who's willing to let you try out on their system. Third and fourth will be setting up security systems or basic security operations where you can run an attack, show how you defended against it, show how you detected all those different things, or even how you set up all the defense procedures for the systems. When you actually document all these things, people know that you know the step-by-step approach, how you think, your methodologies. They are more confident of being able to hire you to do the work. And of course, step 7 is to showcase your abilities thereafter, right? You don't do all this to keep it in somewhere where nobody can see it. Showcase your skills. You can do this either as a website and showcase it through the interview process or sending it in your CV. You can also start taking, going on CTFs, capture the flags, and showing that you know your stuff by, getting a certain position, or even going for higher level certs if you actually are confident enough. But what we recommend is definitely to start talking to people in Div 0, in SINCON 2021, to start talking to people to get their feedback about what you're doing and to see what they say about your capabilities so that you know how to better showcase it when you're going to meet an employer. This is all about showing your stuff so that you can get a job in cybersecurity. And here's a little secret. CFC can take care of all 7 steps for you together and take this journey with you, right? We are the gateway to your cybersecurity career if you were to join us, right? Our goal is very simple. It's to help you take the first steps into cybersecurity. We have a 3-month program that allows you to go from 0 to cybersecurity practitioner such that you can get a job in cybersecurity sector and to be able to begin your journey. And let me just share with you a bit more about timeline. What we do is we focus on developing your skills for the first 3 months and set you onto placement, work with our placement partners such that you get work experience. And throughout that time, if you join us for what we term as the C3 program, we'll be supporting you all the way through and making sure that you have enough experience and have support along the way such that you can do your job well. And when you're ready, come back for further training courses such that you can start preparing for higher level certs such that you can progress in your career. That's what we focus on at Center for Cybersecurity. And if you're really interested in finding out more, feel free to contact us at centerforcybersecurity.com or message us at our WhatsApp or email us at hello@centerforcybersecurity.com. More importantly, I want to just summarize today's session, right? So number 1, find your reason for joining cybersecurity. Number 2, start learning cybersecurity. Number 3, start experimenting with virtual machines. Number 4, join the different communities, competitions, and conferences. Number 5, create your own GitHub and portfolio. And number 6, do projects and then put up on your GitHub and portfolio. And number 7, strut your stuff. Showcase your skills. Get the job. Here at CFC, we hope that if you want to take this journey on your own, that you're successful. If you want to do it with us, we're happy to have you. And we look forward to seeing you around. If you have any questions, please just chat with us in the Discord channel. We'll also send the link to our slides, the key slides of the resources that you need in the Discord channel. Feel free to talk to us. Have a great time at SINCON 2021. We hope to see you around.